If there is anything I would like you to remember from watching this video, is that time could be your worst enemy.
So this patient has an acute stroke, and it's an emergency, and we have to act fast. So for every minute during a stroke, 2 million brain cells will die. So that's why it's a medical emergency. Every minute counts.
Transport. Transport is on the way.
See, people don't die of stroke because it's lethal. They actually die because they don't make it to the hospital on time. And time is one of these things in this universe that we have no idea how to control. So if you or I get a stroke in the future, how would we then be able to survive it when it seems like we are fighting against time? And for that, we need two things. And I have divided this video into two parts with different timestamps so you can go directly to one of them if you would like to. The first thing we need is knowledge. We need to understand what stroke is and what signs and symptoms are associated with it. And the second thing is innovation. We need more innovative solutions in healthcare to even have a chance to fight stroke when it happens. So let us start first with the knowledge part. See, I could use some fancy anatomy animations and effects, but this channel is about keeping important topics very simple and easy for you to remember. So I would like you to start by imagining that the brain is nothing more than a big neighborhood that consists of many houses. And each house of this neighborhood has an important and a specific function to carry out in your brain. One of these functions can be the ability of you to hear, the other is for you to see, to move, to keep your balance, and so on. Now, of course, every house needs energy to function properly. And this energy line you're seeing just supply the houses with enough energy and nutrition to keep them work as properly and normally as possible. And these energy lines will represent your blood vessels in your brain that supply your brain cells with oxygen and nutrition to allow them to function normally. But what happens if there is something blocking the energy supply or there is a leak that is reducing the energy supply to one of these houses? Well, as you might expect, the house will not be able to function properly, and in fact it might lose its function forever if there is not enough energy supply to that region. And that's exactly what happens in your brain. This problem is what we call a stroke. If there is something blocking the blood vessels in your brain, we call it an ischemic stroke. And if there is something causing a leak in your blood vessels in your brain, we call it a hemorrhagic stroke. And most types of strokes are of the ischemic type of stroke, where there is something like a blood clot or particles blocking the blood vessels and not allowing the energy and oxygen to reach your brain cells, which could lead to symptoms. And these symptoms can also differ depending on where the stroke is happening in your brain. And the most frequent and important signs of stroke that you have to be aware of can be summarized in the word fast. And F stands for face because stroke can cause a weakness in the face muscles, and you start to notice that the person who's having stroke, their face start to drop and not even be able to smile or blink. The second letter A stands for arms because stroke can cause a partial or a complete paralysis of your arms depending on where it happens in your brain. The letter S stands for speech because stroke can sometimes affect your ability to articulate and even express that you actually need help. And the letter T stands for time because every minute you're wasting not calling for help when you're observing the signs of stroke, more of your brain cells are dying, and the chance of us saving these brain cells and restore their functions become very low.
So brain cells are very sensitive to lack of oxygen and nutrients. So when the blood supply is cut off to part of the brain immediately starts to deteriorate and die. And if the blood flow is not restored within a couple of hours, the damage is irreversible. So when a patient with a suspected stroke arrives at the hospital, we do a neurologic examination to find the symptoms of stroke, and that can tell us whether this is a stroke or if it's something else and how severe it may be. Then we typically also do a radiological examination of the patient to find out the cause of the stroke, whether it's a blood clot to the brain, where it's a bleeding in the brain or something else.
And that actually what caused some people to have a permanent disability from stroke because they arrived very late to the hospital. Here are real examples of stroke patients before and after they received help. The difference, however, is that one patient received help on time and we were able to restore the blood flow and restore the brain function, while the other arrived late. The patient who arrived late didn't understand the signs of stroke that happened in his body. And that's why it's very important to understand and be aware of the signs of stroke. But unfortunately, some stroke attacks can even happen during your sleep, which makes it very hard for you to be aware of it happening to you. So how would we then call for help if it happens to you or me in the future and we're not even aware of the signs of the stroke happening? And that's exactly why we need innovation. One of these solutions are being developed right now by John and his team to tackle this challenge. Do you see these bracelets on John's arms? These are sensors created and developed by his team to enable you to call an ambulance and your emergency contact if you get a stroke and can't move, speak, or even being aware of it. The bracelets are connected to an app on your phone that will call your emergency contacts if you are suspecting to having a stroke. They contain a battery that needs a recharge every 6 months and an accelerometer, the same technology in your smartphone to know if the phone is tilted or rotated or moving. The bracelet's also monitoring you all the time, even during your sleep, and if it notices that you have not moved for a while, it starts to vibrate. If you don't react, your phone will start a stroke test. To pass the test, you have to draw a circle in the air, answer a few questions, and use your finger to draw an S-shaped curve on the phone screen. If you fail to pass the test within 5 minutes, the app will call for help for you, because it might be that you're right now having a stroke, which makes it very hard for you to pass the test. In this way, the help will be arriving to you as soon as possible to save as much of your brain as possible. I would leave links down below to John and his team and their website if you'd like to contact them and know more about their research and solutions and the bracelets technology. If you like this video so far, don't forget to click the like button to help us reach more people, and don't forget to subscribe to stay in tune with our future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.